Good day, everyone. It's Kevin Alft, CEO of Action Coach of Texas. Here today, Business Spotlight with John Ragsdale. And John is the owner of TAP Innovations, very interesting company. John, if you wouldn't mind just sharing with us a little runway about your business and yourself.
Yes, super. Hey, appreciate you having me join today. Love sharing my story and what's worked and what hasn't worked with other business owners. A little bit about TAP. Formed TAP about 6 years ago. I was a CIO for about 15 years. I found that in between business systems, every company has business systems, maybe 4 or 5 different systems, an HR system, finance system, et cetera. But in between those systems, there are gaps. Most people try to solve those gaps with what we call manual efforts and spreadsheets. Now, if you think about the acronym for that, that spells MESS or MESS, Manual Effort Spreadsheets. So our business purpose is all about eliminating messes. Now, we do that with a group of what I call a digital toolbox. And some of those digital tools we put into the box. We don't limit it. We bring in other tools, but we take that digital toolbox, and when we find a mess, we grab tool number 1, 3, 5, 8, whatever tools are necessary, and we go eliminate messes. We do that in the restaurant industry. We do that in healthcare industry, about 20 other industries. We focus mainly in the mid-market, right? Those companies that might be 20 million in revenue up to 900 million. That's kind of our sweet spot.
Excellent. Wow. You make businesses far more effective and less frustrating.
You're exactly right. If we are all about efficiency, right, and giving people more, the main thing is we're all about giving them insights into actionable information so that they can make great business decisions.
Well said there. Well said. So as you think about the growth you've experienced since 2017 when you started this particular business, what's attributed to that growth, John?
You know, there's definitely not one thing, right? And if you're a business owner, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We have seen some amazing growth. We were in 2020 when the world stopped and everybody was having challenges. We were a $150,000 company. And then over the course of the last 3 to 4 years, we've grown to a $3 million company. So a lot of growth in a few years. I'd say a couple of things that really stand out, and I'll call attention to Action Coach, right? We've leveraged Action Coach in the past. So having somebody that has been there, done that, can coach you through it is really critical, right? Especially coming out of a corporate career and owning my own company, I really just didn't know what to do or how to do it. And having a really intelligent helper, somebody that could guide me, really important. In addition, having a great business partner is really critical. Not always something that is necessarily a good thing, right? Sometimes business partners can fight or have issues, but this business partner, he and I have been together, working together since 2006, and we have a great partnership. We've been in technology a long time. I handle the business development side, marketing and sales, where he takes on the delivery side. We complement each other really nicely. So those are 2 things that have really helped advance us over the last couple of years. But I'd say, and I'm going to give Action Coach another big plug, because one of the things that really transformed us was a program or a methodology called the 5 Ways to Profitability. And that particular model helped us just really wrap our heads around how do we become profitable. It's one thing to grow, one thing to get your top line going, but can you become a profitable business? And we really struggled with that. But when we started to think about just making small changes in the areas of marketing, small changes in the areas of sales conversion, small changes in the areas of margin, all the things that come in the 5 ways, we were able to turn that corner over the last 12, 18 months. And we've been profitable every month since the middle of last year. So great things that help us propel us to where we are today.
Thank you, John. Appreciate that. I'll echo the fact that, excuse me, when I vetted out Action Coach in, May of 2006, and once I saw that 5 ways, it's like, my gosh, I wish I had for all the prior builds I'd done. whether it be the ones they did in America and China, whatever it might be. It's a multiplying chassis, multiplying the bottom line.
Absolutely right. It's exponential. In fact,
Yes.
I had to run the numbers a couple of times in a spreadsheet to say, wait a minute, is that really true? If I just change this 5% and this one 3% and this one 8%, I can get a 60% growth in profitability. Wow, amazing.
Yeah. The compounding nature of it is so powerful. That's what blew my mind in May. I still remember the moment. It's like, wow, I'd never seen this before. We'd never put it all together. We just had pieces of it. And it's like, whoa. So, oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so as we talked about what's driven the growth of your business, and we'll go a little bit deeper on that. What makes your company unique? What makes your business unique, John?
Yeah, when I look at the unique selling positions, right? People
Mm-hmm.
term it the USP. Um, one, we're so nimble, right? And I give a lot of credit for that nimbleness to my business partner. He's Indian, so he's got a ton of global contacts. Again, he and I have been working together for a long time, but he can find any resource, any skill set, anywhere around the world, literally in a couple of days. And he did that for me as a CIO, which was really powerful as I led my teams as a CIO. But we've carried that same model into TAP. And so literally when we're forced with a mess, or customer has a mess, we can start a conversation today, right? And we can start the project literally in a couple of days, sometimes even that day, right? Just depends. We can scale our teams like no other team can. So that just gives us a tremendous capability. In addition, we're really affordable in the mid-market. I say we have big four solutions at SMB prices. And we do that because I understand that mid-market companies don't have huge budgets. I was a CIO back then and worked for those companies. So I do understand that. The other really thing that I think sets us apart is our ability to develop strategic partnerships, and I'll say channel partnerships. And I'll give you just an example as I wrap it up here in this question. We've developed a partnership with Paycor. Paycor is an HR human capital management system, and they several years ago were trying to go to market selling their services, but a lot of their mid-market customers need some kind of extra feature, some kind of extra integration. Well, Paycor's not really good at that. So they leaned on TAP for a couple of instances, and we were successful. We delivered those solutions literally in weeks, right? And their customers were just amazed. Like, oh my gosh, you stood up this complex integration in a matter of weeks, and it was affordable. And then, so we've developed that partnership. We're now Paycor's highly recommended partner. In fact, I think we're number 2 or 3 on their partner list. They call us literally 30 times a month when they need some kind of integration. So we've just got great relationships there. So those things really set us apart.
Well done on those differentiators. They were comprehensive as well. So that'd be a tip I'll just share with other owners who are listening to this particular business spotlight. Think about how you can have multiple differentiations coming from different aspects of your business. The strategic partnerships, on and on. So the nimbleness from within, whatever it might be. So sometimes it's your capabilities to serve. The fact you're able to do this implementation so quickly, that's a sustainable differentiator that others will have a very difficult time emulating. So that's another encouraging piece about a USP, just as a unique selling proposition, just isn't necessarily some type of feature. It can be the capability to deliver and develop in the way no one else can.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you had to start the business from square one, what would you do differently, reflecting on the last, handful of years, John?
What would I do differently? I obviously think about that a lot. It's like, ooh, gosh, wish I wouldn't have made that mistake. I think probably one of the biggest challenges that I've had, coming from a CIO, where I've built lots of teams and hired lots of people and got really good at that. One of my biggest challenges is finding the right resources for marketing and sales, right? Which I think is probably one of the top problems of any company. How do you do that? How do you grow and scale? And if I could do it over, I would learn earlier in the process, how to build a sales process, how to recruit salespeople. Again, I wasn't really, I didn't know how to do that. I knew how to recruit, IT people, but
Yeah.
not salespeople. They're just different personalities. And I won't say that I've figured it out. We've done better in the last couple of years, but that stands out to me as, gosh, I wish I would have learned some of those things earlier. I think I would have been able to move into running TAP full time. I was able to do it in 2022. But it took me, 2017 to 2022 running TAP as a side hustle, which is challenging, with a corporate career and family. But I wish I'd have been able to do that sooner and faster in terms of building a marketing and sales team.
Marketing machine and sales engine are so key. You have the best mousetrap in the world, best innovation in the world. How do you get it out there? Make people aware of it, have them trust it as their solution, and then keep doing business, repeat business piece as well. So yeah,
Absolutely. That's
that's
and again, I don't know that I've solved it. I'm better at it today than I was 3 years ago. But if I had things to do over, I would have learned that sooner.
so you mentioned earlier that we've got, or prior to us getting going with the business spotlight, there's about 24 core team members, 130 across the world in 3 different continents or countries. What have you learned about being an employer? Your biggest learnings in selecting people, and also I'll double down on that, the attributes as well. So selecting them and the attributes you seek.
Selecting them is a great question. I would say again, I got really good at hiring as a CIO, and it's got two components to it. You want to hire for results, right? You want folks that have experience and have been successful in the jobs that you're hiring for. But you also want to hire for behaviors, right? They need to fit
Definitely.
culturally, right? They need to fit your model, and how you operate as a team, how you communicate. And again, I'll give props to Action Coach. I've learned about a process called hiring steps, and I'll even give props to the company hiringsteps.com. So if you haven't tried that out, it's a really great process that really streamlines the hiring process and actually saves you a ton of time. And you don't really have to have a huge HR department. Highly recommend that. But that's helped in the last 12 months really target the right kinds of people, and really quickly see if they have both the results as well as the behaviors. Right, you've got some written questions, you've got some online video questions. So that's really critical. When I come to the attribute side, I think one, making sure you know what the role is, and getting a really good job description, not a general job description. It needs to be specific. And then you do need to think about, okay, is this a role that needs to be performed, on site, right? Can this be performed remotely? Can this be performed, globally, right? Because there's some positions like a developer, they can perform that work in India, right? And you need some overlap in terms of communication. But as an example of a project manager who needs to be working U.S. hours, 100% even on West Coast time, right? That's going to be tough to be a global position, right? You might need to have someone that's in this time zone and obviously speaks the language and has
Mhm.
competence. So a lot of those things play into the type of position. I'll share just one more example in this space that was really, really important to me, and it's just communication, right? I many years ago, I was leading a 50-person team offshore, and I just started the position. I'd worked with offshore teams before, and no issues communicating. But I came in, and the first couple of weeks, I was on the conference calls with the team, and I couldn't understand them. Right, I really had a hard time. I went to my boss. He said, you know what? You need to go visit them. I said, wait, what? He said, you need to go to India, right? I'm going to send you over there for 3 weeks. I want you to hang out with them. I want you to get to know them, right? Obviously, you can work, but go do that. Okay, so I did. It was an amazing opportunity. I went over there. One, it was just great to learn the culture and see a different part of the world. They were super hospitable. Took me in. We went to hiking, and we went to movies, and obviously we worked together. And it was really fascinating. When I came back, I was on the same conference call, same people, but I understood them. I even knew, oh wait, that's so and so talking, and I remember that person's humor. So just getting to work with people at a different level and communicate, it is so critical to building, hiring and developing a great team.
Well said. Get to know them as a human being.
Absolutely.
So important. So important. And a piece you just mentioned, I'll emphasize, is being in proximity with, to at least for a period of time, to get to understand more deeply.
Yes. Very powerful.
Yep.
Just hired a new business development rep. And one of the questions was, hey, can I work remote? I said, not for the first 3-4 months. You're in the office. We got to get to know you. You got to get to know us. After that, we could talk about what does that look like, but I want to build that relationship. We can, pull each other from down the hall, let's go on the whiteboard and collaborate. And it just, you can't put a price on the value that brings to developing a team.
That is certainly true. Brooklyn and I just hired a new team member, and he's across the metro over in Denton. We're in McKinney. And he said his discernment is he's got to be here in the office with us for the first 3 or 4 months, just like you said, to really get immersed in who we are, how we are, all that. So it becomes part of us, part of the team.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you for supporting that.
Mm-hmm.
As you look at your life as a business owner, how do you balance your personal life with the demands of the business?
It's obviously not easy, especially when you own your own business, right? You're passionate about it and you want to grow it, right? You're going to do everything in your power to advance the company, right? But to your point, that can be in conflict with family time or personal time or whatever. I'm just a big believer in planning my calendar, right? And owning and controlling my calendar. I learned early in my career from, a number of people, hey, look, you are the owner of your calendar, right? You get to choose what meetings go on the calendar, what time is blocked. And so I do that earnestly every day and every week. I spend time to say, okay, you know what? This is the time that I'm going to work. This is the time that I'm going to, spend with my family or call my kids or with my wife or whatever. So I'm really cognizant of that. And I don't let my calendar control me. I control it. And so making those types of choices are super, super critical. As an example, this evening at 5:15, I'm headed to the beach to watch the sunset with my wife. And so I make a point to do that. And then I communicate that with my wife so that she's on board and she understands. She doesn't get any surprises of, what I'm working on or not working on. So that's really critical. I do love the flexibility of owning my own business, right? I didn't have this flexibility as an employed, staff member, right? And so I actually was more constricted there. So having the flexibility to, I am working in Florida today with my business in Dallas, headed back to Dallas next week. So I love that flexibility to kind of, travel and go different places and work from different places. So it's not easy, but I do love the flexibility. I wouldn't go back. I love owning my own business.
I agree with you as well. Left corporate America 18 years ago. No looking back. No looking
Right.
back. So, yeah. Last question for today is, what are some of the common misconceptions around business ownership? And how do you address them and Yeah, just to be clear for folks out there as they're either looking at entering into a business or in the middle of it and they realize, my gosh, what are those misconceptions that many people have?
Yeah, I'd say it's not for the faint of heart, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
If if you're worried about risk, or if you're worried about um you know problems, and you want, you just crave more stability, it might not be for you, right? Because it you have to be tough. You have to be also willing to go out there, somewhat alone, right? Entrepreneurs are out there alone. Obviously, you can find a business coach and you can find partners and things like that. But in the end, you're it. And you've got to make those choices. If that bothers you, or if that's, super stressful, probably not for you, right? I love it, right? I thrive in that
Mhm.
kind of environment. There've been plenty of times where, you look and you're like, well, shoot, are we going to make payroll, or how are we going to make it through the next couple months? Or where are we going to get the money? Or I get all that. That's just part of growing a business. And I think you learn a lot going through that. There's some people that don't make it through that, right? And even then, you got to be figure out to be ways to be okay with that. I mean, look at Elon Musk, or pick your entrepreneur. They failed lots of times. Some cases go bankrupt and then they start over. Um, Again, not everybody's cut out for that. But again, I do love the freedom of being my own company. I also love working with people. That's probably one of my favorite things about owning my own business. And I enjoyed that when I was a CIO, but I've just got a lot more freedom to set the culture and work with people. And I love showing up every day and figuring out a way to make an impact on people's lives, right? And that could be helping them learn something new. Obviously, I'm paying people a salary, so I'm helping them earn a career and provide for their families. I don't take that lightly, and so I embrace that. Obviously, that can weigh on you if the business is not doing well, but I take that challenge every day, and I embrace it.
Well done. Well done. John, anything else you want to add before we wrap up here today?
I'll just say one more thing about culture, right? I talked about culture. It's one thing to just say, hey, we've got a great culture. It's another to actually live and breathe it. And so I'm going to give props to one of my former bosses. His name is Paul Spiegelman. If you look up Paul Spiegelman, he is a culture expert based in Dallas, but he taught me a culture called the circle of growth. And it's a circle. Think about a clock. At the top of the clock at 12 o'clock, team members, number one priority, right? I put my team members at the top of the list every single day. I want to put them in a position for success, give them the right tools, give them the right encouragement, support, all the things. I want them to be successful, right? I spend 80-90% of my time doing that. If that happens at 3 o'clock, going around the clock, the team members are going to deliver great services to clients. Clients are going to be wildly satisfied. And then if you move around the clock at 6 o'clock, they will pay you revenue, right? That's the way a business model works. And then moving on to 9 o'clock, you're going to get profit. And then if you take a portion of those profits, reinvest them back in the team members, it completes what we call the circle of growth. And it's just a great model. I know a lot of people put clients number one. Clients are important, but man, if you don't put your team members first, then you're going to be hard pressed to have a lasting organization. So I just wanted to add that. That's just near and dear to my heart. We live and breathe it every single day, and carry it through all of our teams.
John, that's a great addition at the end. Thank you. So true. So true. And when we take care of the team first and they take care of the customers take
Absolutely.
care of the business,
Yep.
John, can take care of you and your business partner and your families
Yep.
and
Absolutely.
all your employees. Yeah, that's a very good cycle. So thank you. Appreciate you. And John, wow, you guys are on the right track. Definitely the
Well,
right
thank
track.
you. again, appreciate the invite. Enjoyed spending just a couple of minutes with you today, and love to be an influence on somebody out there. Hopefully this, some of these comments or a nugget or an aha moment, right? That pops out there, that somebody can take it and use it.
The St. Action Coach of BFO, blinding flash the obvious, right?
Absolutely.
Again, thank you, John. Greatly appreciate it.
All right. Appreciate it. Thanks, Kevin.